going live in five, four, three, two. We're live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. It's currently 8 a.m. like normal. It is 63 degrees outside, and it is warm. I mean, it feels muggy out right now, so be prepared for that. We got a high of 82 today, so be prepared. It's going to stay warm. It's going to stay muggy all day. So, if you are you're out and about, just be prepared. You're going to sweat, and it's going to be not super fun because it is just muggy and nasty out right now. So, with that being said, traffic conditions going into Tulsa right now are pretty fair. It was not fair like 20 minutes ago. I'll tell you that right now. It was standstill. So, if you are commuting into Tulsa as of right now, your commute's going to be pretty good. So, happy travels to you if you haven't left your house and are going into Tulsa today. Now, upcoming local events, nothing's really changed. I think it's donuts and dignitaries today, right, Chad, at the for the Owasso Chamber.
That is correct.
And then you have the sensory
skate event.
No. It's the fun run. It's a fun run on the 18th. That's right.
Yes. Let me pull that back up.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. The fun run is tomorrow.
Yes. Dignitaries and Donuts is today, which that should be going on, I think, at 9. It starts at 9 today. And then as for Owassoisms again, yeah, it's just that join us for the Road Running Club race series.
Excellent.
And that's at the Owasso Sports Park.
All right.
That's all there is this week.
So I guess the big first thing we'll talk about is the Secretary of Education here in Oklahoma has come out and you have that Libs a TikTok video pulled, Chad?
I do.
So when Chad's going to cue this video up real quick, but the state education secretary is going to sue the Biden administration for over Title IX issues. So he says it's unconstitutional, and we'll just see what he has to say about it. I mean, here he is right here, posted by Libs of TikTok.
Playing now.
Today I am announcing that the Oklahoma State Department of Education will be the first State Department of Education to sue the Biden administration on their unconstitutional override of Title IX. The Biden administration has weaponized the Federal Department of Education to trample girls' sports, to end protections that Title IX provided for women to make sure that girls can use a bathroom in a girls' restroom without boys walking in, without boys walking into girls' showers. The Biden administration is at war with women. They are at war with common sense. Wokeism has rotted their brain and had them push the most radical agenda our states have ever seen. Well, this state will fight back. Here in Oklahoma, I'm proud to be the first state superintendent to sue them directly. We will not back down to Joe Biden's woke agenda. We will continue to ensure girls' sports will have a place here in Oklahoma. Your girls will be protected in the girls' bathroom. And again, we will sue the Biden administration. We will fight the Biden administration, and we will not comply with the Biden administration. Today, I am announcing that the Oklahoma State...
So there you go. If you are pro-transgender, you are obviously going to be voting against the superintendent or the education secretary of Oklahoma. So, but I mean, I think this is a good move because the only thing that will come of transgender men or transgender women who are men competing in women's sports will just be the death of women's sports. When you allow men to come in and compete in women's spaces, they're going to dominate. Now, there'll be a handful of, like, the cream of the crop of the women who will be able to compete with them. But for the most part, you'll just... The inclusion of trans women in women's sport, well, again, trans women being men, is just going to be the death of female sports. Period. Like, I mean, the more this happens, the more you're going to see scholarships that girls deserve going to trans people. So be prepared for that. If you're going to go with the grain and not go against the social progressive narrative, then as a woman, just enjoy not getting scholarships. Yeah. Enjoy not competing in sports.
Which there's a lot of things wrong with Title IX, but if you're trying to keep your daughter playing sports or
getting a scholarship,
full ride to some university, yeah, you're gonna need that because here's the thing: is Title IX was kind of a bad thing when it first came around. I mean, I still kind of convinced it's kind of a bad thing because all it did was get rid of the sports that actually generate revenue,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to have an equal number of women's teams that there are men's. Which is, if you remember, that's why TU had a baseball team originally, and it was a really good baseball team. And then Title IX rolled around. They were between, like, they had to cut either their football team or their baseball team, and they had to pull the trigger on
The baseball team.
and then they had to pull in women's rowing.
They brought in women's softball and women's rowing to counteract the number of players that could be on the football team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what no one realizes. Like, you are kind of shooting yourself in the foot with Title IX. I'm not saying Title IX is perfect, but if you want any hope in heck of your daughter being able to play at a university, and possibly, I mean, now that they pay players, I don't think the female players are going to get paid nearly as much as the men still.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all you've got.
Yeah, and that's the God's honest truth right there. If you can either death by tolerance or death by 1,000 cuts, you can just keep letting crap like this happen, keep letting trans people invade women's spaces, or you can stand up to it and say no. If the colleges and schools want to do a trans league, fine, but they sure as heck are not going to be playing with women. Like, guys will be playing with guys, girls will be playing with girls. And again, remember, there are no rules against women playing in the NBA or the NFL. Any girl can go out and try out. Whether or not they make the cut is totally up to them. So, that's the truth.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, we're going to push on to our next subject, or the title of our video. If you didn't see the thumbnail, it's Show Us the Money. So, and there's Zelensky, and there's like one of those buckets of money being thrown at him. So, we have been correct from the beginning on this. And, I hate to be this person, but we are dumping money into a country, into one of the most corrupt countries that ever existed. Like, remember, Ukraine was considered one of the most corrupt governments in existence up until the invasion of Russia into Ukraine. Then Ukraine was a perfect angel. They could do no wrong. And we just keep dumping billions of dollars into a war that they're not winning, they're not going to win, and to prop up the most corrupt politicians that have ever been around, on top of the collusion with our own corrupt politicians here in the U.S. So here we are at the tail end of this war, and we're dumping more money into it, and there was supposed to be some type of defensive position set up, and when the Ukrainian military went over there to go set up the post, they're like, the contract company that we paid to put this defensive position up, they didn't do it. And it turns out this has been happening all over the country. So the U.S. government put money into a bunch of small, unknown, new weapons and military industrial complex companies that were startups, brand new. Not battle tested, not financially tested. And guess what? Those companies that we gave that money to have disappeared. They've fallen off the face of the earth. We don't know where they are. So this has just been a money laundering scheme from U.S. politicians to corrupt Ukrainian politicians. They're just the people in power are lining their pockets so they can get their escape plans, move out, and go to a country where they can live as wealthy billionaires and millionaires.
And let's not forget that this is also the same country that Hunter Biden was on the Burisma.
Yeah, the Burisma board
with.
of. Yeah, Burisma was an oil company that was pushing through pipelines, and Hunter. This was what the Hunter Biden laptop scenario was all about. He was on the board of Burisma, this company that put him on the board not because he had any expertise in the field of oil or energy management, but because he had connections to high-powered people in high-powered places, i.e. his dad, Joe Biden, back when he was vice president.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a person who is a drug addict, a crack addict, on the board of a oil company. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and this is what that whole Biden, well, son of a gun, I got the guy fired. He fired a DA who was investigating this corrupt company known as Burisma. And he was like, "Nope, you're going to get rid of that DA, or we're going to withhold U.S. aid money to Ukraine." And they fired that DA, and there was no further investigation into Burisma. The company figureheads of Burisma had fled the country while they were under investigation too. and came back once the DA was fired. This is all factual. This is all true. This is all stuff that you can look up and see. You can see the video of Biden saying, I got the DA fired. I withheld aid money. Joe Biden's still in office, still hasn't been impeached. All of this is real. But again, we don't like Trump because he said he had some mean tweets. So, this is the world we live in, folks. We just dumped billions of dollars of taxpayer money, your money, my money, and we just lined the pockets of corrupt business owners for the military industrial complex and corrupt politicians over there in Ukraine. And I'm sure there are probably shell companies set up by corrupt politicians here in the U.S. who have ties with pseudo military industrial complex places, and they're just lining their pockets with those billions of dollars of our taxpayer money. This whole thing was a sham. And it's a shame that we're the ones being punished for it, our tax dollars. And we're going to be reaping the costs of this horrible financial decision made by the U.S. government.
You're also wanting to know
for
why
years to come.
Everything's becoming more expensive and hard to get a hold
Yeah,
of.
on
and
top
gas
of
prices
illegal
are going up.
immigration, on top of the mass influx of illegal immigration, we just sent $60 billion to Ukraine. I'm pretty sure the people in Hawaii still don't have homes to live in. The people in East Palestine, Ohio, when that train derailed, still having issues recovering. I mean, here, the government is going to give you $1,000. You guys should be able to survive off of that for a while. But no, Ukraine needs $60 billion so it can disappear into somebody's pocket overnight. This should upset you. This is why I am totally against government aid packages to foreign countries. You know, we have enough problems here at home. Period. I don't want to deal with this crap. I don't care about the Ukrainian conflict. I don't really care about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Let these people deal with their own problems. I don't know, folks, but that's where I'm at. This is not something that the U.S. needs to be bothered with. But again, when there's money to be made or, you know, pockets to be lined, we're going to send that money. Somebody's going to get rich and we're going to stay poor over here.
That's right.
And I say poor. I mean, we're not a poor country by any stretch of the mind, but it's going to make things harder. That's for darn sure. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that, and I am not happy, and you shouldn't be happy about it either. If you're one of these people that goes, we can just print as much money as we want, you are a fool. If you're basically, the more money you print, the less the value the dollar has. There's got to be something backing up that dollar. You know, it's the petrodollar, so it's oil basically now. But I mean, we used to have a gold standard. That's gone now. So that's where we're at with that, folks. Like I said, I hate to say that we were right, and I hate to say we called it, but I mean that's the truth. And so many commentators, political commentators besides us, have been saying the exact same thing for a long time. But then again, I mean, the media lies and manipulates. They made Zelensky seem like he's the greatest leader that's ever existed.
Mm-hmm. I just scrolling through some of these pictures in here. When I typed in Zelensky, like they had pictures of him being compared to Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill. Yes. This guy who used to play, there's videos of him playing the piano with his tallywhacker. This guy is the next Winston Churchill? Get out of here. This is what happens when you have a biased media who is bought and paid for. But yeah. We'll push on after that. We'll end on this final note. Freedom Tunes. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Freedom Tunes. I love Freedom Tunes. The guy's name, Seamus Coughlin is the guy's name. And he's been making political cartoons for a very long time. And his stuff, it's very poignant. It's very on the nose. It's very good. Like, he is a fantastic... His cartoons are not high quality, but not like Flash gets or... I guess I'd say I'd compare him closer to Meat Canyon, but I mean even in lazier art style than Meat Canyons are. But the political commentary in his is, you know, obviously from a more right-leaning perspective. But a while back, there was a controversy in Canada where they were saying these Indian schools, or so not these Indian schools, they were Catholic schools that took indigenous people's children or the local Indian population's kids from them and taught them how to integrate into society. Now, they did this underground radar thing, scan or something like that. And when they scanned the ground, whoever was looking at the scan go, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of mass graves under this church. We found the church. And they obviously executed a bunch of over 200 kids, over 200 indigenous kids. Well, this blew up in the media, got no scrutiny from anybody. The media was just like, oh yeah, this is real. This actually happened. The Catholic Church killed several hundred indigenous children because, white people are racist and they hate indigenous people. No scrutiny applied to this. Well, guess what? Turns out none of it happened. The ground scans that they got was probably just rocks. Rubble, debris. No bodies were found. No mass graves. But guess what? 85 churches were vandalized and burned down in Canada because of this incident. Because the media has no journalistic integrity. They have no standards. They're like, we did one ground scan. We didn't actually dig it up yet. But when we do, we're going to find mass graves. Well, when they dug it up, they didn't find mass graves. So here is a cartoon put together by Seamus Coughlin. And like I said, his commentary, once again, is 100% on point.
All right.
Whoa, I heard the Catholic Church has a mass grave of native kids murdered by nuns. Front page. Should we fact check it?
Oh no, we don't have to, because I don't like them.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're gonna shoot all you kids there, eh? Oh yeah, that's what you get for being indigenous there, eh? Die, ya native losers.
Hey, great reporting.
Thanks.
Is that really how it happened? No, we didn't say whoops. Oh, thank goodness. Could have really damaged our network's reputation.
Do you suffer from moderate to severe
That's it.
blackpilling?
That's it. Okay.
Man. But yeah, that couldn't be more spot on. The media never came out and apologized for that. Again, we were just reporting what we were told. It's not our fault the ground scans were wrong. Well, it's your fault you didn't apply any scrutiny at all or wait. You're just like, oh, I can't wait to report this because we know this is going to... And again, the indigenous people who allegedly these were the children of were like, well, this is indicative of white people in the Catholic Church. And they were compared to Nazis. All the regular crap. But guess what? None of it happened. You can disagree with how the indigenous people were treated back in the day. You can disagree with the fact that they were brought in and assimilated into Canadian culture. But I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, I guess you could say, well, they'd be better off if they were out there living in the plains, living wild, living free. So, but I mean, do you really want to give up your smartphone? Do you really want to give up your television? I don't know. This is, again, that's why you should never trust the media. The fact that there was zero scrutiny applied to that. And again, the only people who applied scrutiny were the right-wing media sources and the right-wing media news outlets in Canada and in the U.S. But guess what? They're outnumbered 100 to 1. So likely there could be a mass grave underneath this Catholic Church remains. It's very likely. That's what the ground scans show. Reported all over the world. And now, 2 years later, when like confirmed, not a real thing, nobody's around. And again, that's what matters. Like the whole it's the Richard Jewell. If you've seen the Clint Eastwood movie Richard Jewell, that's what it is. Richard Jewell was the hero that saved everyone, or saved as many people as he could, by identifying the backpack that had a bomb in it. And then he became hero to pariah overnight because they go, well, he fits the profile of a bomber. He's a loner, a loser, lives with his mom. So he fits a profile. The FBI built a profile on him. And then they sent that to a journalist who published an article going, Richard Jewell is the primary suspect, which he was one of the suspects, but he wasn't the primary suspect. But he went from hero to pariah in literally less than a day. Mm-hmm. And guess what? There was no resounding, hey, Richard Jewell's innocent. It was years later, finally they caught the actual guy, and there was no apology from the media. There was no comeuppance for the people that did bad journalism. There was no comeuppance for the FBI agents who profiled him and shared that information with journalists. It was just, he disappeared into obscurity. And people probably, until that movie came out, probably still thought, oh yeah, Richard Jewell was the guy that was the bomber, right? Again, it's like what I've told you before. Like when Owasso was the hazing school for the paddling on the football team. I hear from people in my college, like going, hey, you're from Owasso, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you're that school that paddles kids and stuff, like out of Dazed and Confused. And I was like, what are you talking about? And like, yeah, you guys are the paddle school. And I'm just like, I don't know what that means. I don't even know what you're talking about. They go, oh, you're just playing coy. That's why you join a fraternity and all that stuff. You're just trying to keep it a secret. It's like, no. So then I go and do my own investigation. I go and talk to the guys that I knew on the football team. And I was like, what's going on with this paddle crap? And they go, oh, yeah, it was 2 guys, and they paddled like a couple of different kids, and it was the first time that it's ever happened, ever. But the media would have you believe that this is something that's been going on for years. Years. Again, it's amazing how quickly misinformation or a misunderstanding of something so simple can be completely miscued or blown up into something out of proportion. It's like, hey, again, this candidate thing being a perfect example of that. Well, we did some ground scans, and we think that there could be mass graves under there. Or did they just post the most inflammatory thing that would catch the most attention in the headlines? Make the most clickbaity thing they could do. Because it's not about actual truth-telling. It's about getting as many eyes and clickbait articles out there so you can get as many, advertisers as possible. Your news outlet or on your video.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. And it's still going on today. Anytime you see somebody commenting on something, when it gets blown out of proportion, it's probably a much smaller incident than it would actually have you believe.
Yeah. Well, and 2, it's like even when the media does admit when they have something wrong, the main article was on page 1 of the misinformation.
The retractions on page 12.
Exactly. The retractions on the back page.
So don't trust your journalists. Don't trust these people. I mean, find a journalist that you trust, someone who you know has a good track record. And even they will get it wrong sometimes. But they'll be the ones that apologize openly and to your face about it. Instead of CNN, ABC, MSNBC being like, well, we did print a retraction, 2 years later on page 12. By the way, we were wrong about that. Sorry. But it's not a genuine sorry. They're happy they got the media coverage on it. They're happy they got that attention out there. And that's the God's honest truth. So that's about all we've got for you today, folks. Don't trust the media. Remember, the media is the enemy of the people. And, just don't be taken on a ride by folks who don't actually care about the truth or have any integrity. Do your own research, people. And I know especially folks who are older, you are conditioned to watch TV and watch Fox and watch CNN and just accept that as truth. Don't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore. That's why we started up this. Because we're sick of seeing crap like that and people take it as truth. Or only getting one half of the story.
Mm-hmm.
We're not perfect by any stretch of the mind. But we're going to give you our unfiltered and honest opinion about what we see.
Yep.
And if we're wrong, let us know.
Yep.
And we're happy to talk to people about it and happy to admit that we're wrong.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's about all we've got for you today. I hope that everyone has a wonderful day. This has been the Twins with Owasso Live. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share with your friends, family, so you too and they can stay in the loop. That's about all we've got for you. God bless y'all.
See you later, everybody.